So the quilts themselves, the story quilts, are sort of an outgrowth of people encouraging me to write over the years. And when COVID came about, I finally got my website back up and going and jumped into doing the writing with artwork to go with it. And so actually every piece of art that I have, there's a story that goes with it. This is the series with just using the quilts themselves to demonstrate the story. And so I got into that, and I think the fun part about it is it's just about everyday life and the things we experience as we grow up. And I would say probably some of the best compliments I've received is that people have said, it reminds me of this when I was a kid, or we used to do things like that, and it brings back a lot of happy memories for people just to, you know, see some of the everyday sort of foolishness that goes on. The process of the art usually is triggered by the time of year, so there's a lot of things that bring up memories. Sometimes I see pictures, or there's things going on in the community around me or the farmyards around me. And so I start with the story, and once I put together the story, I try to limit it in length. I'm quite a talker, so I edit the story to get it down to something short, and then really look for sort of a poignant moment in that story that I use to exhibit, you know, make the creation of the piece of art. And so I start with it from a quilting standpoint, where I'll sketch out an idea and loosely put it in a grid format, much like a quilt would go together, but from there start using some of the basic principles of quilting to intersect lines and put together more of a geometric design for it. And then I have a mountain of buttons I've collected over the years, and people have given me, one old couple from Canada, who are no longer with us, gave me a huge collection of buttons that they had from there. And so that's what really is the impetus behind what's going on with the buttons in them, is to use the buttons. And they're very, very carefully picked out to find eyes and faces and the size of the heads that we should be at the time, or if there's adults in there. And then I add every one of them, you can see the eyelashes on it, basically signaling the eyes in the button that's being used. Once you go through it, you can see the piece that I mentioned before about hay season. You can see that there's two of us down on the wagon, two of us up in the hay mow. That one I had a really unique button that has a lot of little pieces of straw in it, so that one is the exception. It's the hay bale going up the elevator. So.